Hey everybody, welcome to the Skills series. My name is Mark Fittipaldi, and in this series we go over the skills that you need to be a high-level TCG player. If you haven't seen the previous episodes, please check them out. In the description below you'll find some links. In today's episode, we'll be going over board control. So what is board control? Board control is the act of preventing the other player from doing what they want on the board, so where their creatures are. And the types of decks that generally care about board control are decks that want to go toward the mid or late game and win later on. So in this video, we're going to show you some of the ways to achieve board control. The first and most important way to achieve board control is by trading correctly. In this example, my opponent has 2 creatures on the board, and I have 4. So the most optimal thing for me to do would be to end up with 4 creatures on the board to my opponent's 0. So there is a very easy way that we can do this via trading correctly. So the idea of trading correctly is to not lose your creatures, but make your opponent lose theirs. So to do this, we could attack with both of our 1/1 creatures into their 1/1 to get rid of it, but that would leave us losing 2 creatures to their 1 creature, which isn't very efficient. So the first thing we're going to do is use our 2 health creatures to deal with their 1 health creature. This will leave both of our 2 health creatures alive, and it will remove their 1 health creature. So now we keep our 4 creatures and the opponent only has 1 left. And then we can use our other 2 creatures to remove the 1 that they have left, leaving us with 4 creatures left to our opponent's 0. And now we are in control of the board. The next most important thing to do is not to attack their god over their creature. So this is something that a lot of newer players will make the mistake of doing. So in this example, they'll make the mistake of attacking the god for 6 damage rather than removing the opponent's creature. This gives your opponent the opportunity to gain board control. And we don't want them to do that because we want to be the one dictating what happens on the board. So the best thing that we can do here is to remove the opponent's creature, and it's okay to lose our creature if it means we keep control of the board. Now we only do 4 damage to the opponent's god, but we're in a better state because we're keeping control and our opponent can't do anything like buff their creature up. The third and final lesson is knowing when to relinquish board control. There are some times when it's extremely obvious that you shouldn't be focused on trading. For instance, if we have the ability to kill our opponent, which we do in this instance, we should be focusing on immediately killing our opponent and ending the game. That's a very obvious example. There are other examples when you should be focused on relinquishing board control to put your opponent in a position where they simply cannot win if they focus on board control. So, for instance, if we have the ability to put our opponent onto 2 health, and we have a spell in our hand that we can cast next turn that deals 2 damage, in that instance, it's completely fine if we give our opponent the board because we're going to end the game and win. There is such an example as putting your opponent on a clock too, which is if you can put your opponent down to the point where they're on 5 health and we have 5 damage of creatures on the board, they're on a 1-turn clock, which means they're going to die next turn. So you're basically forcing your opponent to have an answer. This is a very risky thing to do, and I would only recommend doing this when you have a great understanding of your opponent's decks. This concludes our lesson on board control. Stay tuned for some more episodes on the skill series, and if you want to view the previous episodes, please check out the links below. Thanks so much, my name is Mark Fittipaldi, and I'll see you next time.